What is going on, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now, taking you all the way up the lock. Eight gamer tonight in the association. There are 10 games. We don't care about the last two: Phoenix, the Kings, New Orleans, and the Lakers. Kind of an 8-game sprint slate, right? 7 o'clock start on the East Coast. Last game at locks 8 o'clock, and it's dispersed nicely as well. 3 at 7, 2 at 7:30. I think it's 5. No, that's bad math. 3 at 8 o'clock. Hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications. What's up, chat? Hit that, hit all the things, hit all the buttons, caress it, tap it, get that thumb going. Chopper, it is a Fleet Tuesday. You excited?
We'll see. We'll see how good the clues are. That'll tell me how excited I am. I don't know.
But typically it's a television, so I was just I changed it up on you a little bit of a curveball. Fleet wow. Tuesday.
That's terrible, Dean. So what's Thursday going to be?
I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get to Thursday.
You know how Fleet goes with Thursday, like those go together. Why are we not doing a TV? Is there not? Have you run out of TV shows that you can put together clues for?
I have not run out of TV shows. There's plenty of TV shows, but I made one on Friday or Thursday, previously last week, and producer Steve surprised me. He's like, "Hey, I got one ready to go." Like Steve made his own clues, so I'm like, "All right, you know what? I'm going to use those, and we're going to put this in my back pocket." And today I dug in my pocket, and I said, "Oh, I already have the clues and we're ready to go." Does that make sense? Does that check out for you?
I mean, I guess we got to roll with it, but I can't say I'm too pleased with it.
The first clue is actually scrolling right now for those that are on time, those that are prompt. It is Kiss. Kiss is the first clue. It's scrolling right there at the bottom of the screen. You guys know the deal at this point. Get that Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel will be the first person to tell me what athlete am I talking about. You get yourself a week free of RG Premium. It's not Ace Bailey or Robert Ory or Serena Williams, but some guesses coming on through. Again, get yourself a week free of RG Premium. One guess per clue drop. We'll drop another clue in about 10 minutes or so. But yeah, that's what we want to know. Today's athletes. It is an 8-gamer, Chop. We're kind of talking about this pre-show. Not a ton of news as far as what we're waiting for. A lot of the news has already been established. OKC is not playing some dudes. Philadelphia is going to be without some guys. That's where there's some value. Washington is the only team in the back half of a back-to-back. They're down to 9. I mean, it's not desperate, not full-on desperation, but they got to play some guys. But we're down to 9 in Washington. They are getting Leaky Black back, so he's the 9th guy. And they're in Orlando. Expected blowout here, like 17-point dogs or something like that. They did hang pretty close last night with your Rockets. Actually, yeah, they were pretty close with Houston last night.
Not really.
Well, I nobody cares about my live bets, but I live bet Houston when they were down to Washington early, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be muddy. And I think I laid like 11 or so, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you saw KD with a minute to go, just like gave the ball over for.
I was going to say, I think he kind of maybe. Well, I'm not accusing him of anything, but that was a little suspicious.
He looked devastated. Actually, he was embarrassed.
The whole last minute and change.
It was bad.
Looked a little suspicious. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but I was like, what happened to I had like a 4 or 5 point cushion. I think Shepard hit like his 8th three or whatever it was. I don't hit a bunch of threes. I felt pretty good about it, and then it just our lead when it comes to covering evaporated pretty quickly. But hey, it's a new day, and we have 8 games to play with tonight, Chop. I know you're not big on overview stuff, but if you have anything overview or player you're monitoring. I was looking up our if-then stuff, and it's just, the nonsense in Memphis, Ty Jerome and Aldama and Coward. They're probably all not going to play. Who knows? Davion Mitchell is currently questionable for Miami. Dean Wade, that is currently questionable for Cleveland. But, really, there's, Zion, he's on the slate, so we don't care. He's questionable. But there's really not a lot to, again, things will happen. I imagine we'll get something goofy maybe, possibly. There are how many teams in the front end? I think it's 4 or 5. Charlotte, Memphis, New York, OKC, and Philly. I think New York and OKC actually face each other tomorrow night. So you got the Hartenstein revenge. It is not Ace Bailey. Somebody else guessed Ace Bailey. Why did you think? Why are two people thinking Ace Bailey, Chop?
Kiss. Gene Simmons and Ace.
No, Freely. You're thinking of Ace Freely is the guy's.
Yes, Ace Freely. So
yeah,
Kiss, Ace Freely. Why not?
Okay. I mean, yeah, Gene Simmons, Ace Freely, and I don't know the rest of them, but yeah, okay. It's two people guessed that. And I'm like, why are you guys guessing that? It's also not Tony Parker or Jurgensen Profar or Manti Te'o, which is an interesting. I see what you're doing there with the Manti Te'o guess. It's not.
Speaking of Profar, my goodness.
Yeah.
Just be happy you got your contract and just suck for the rest of your career and be done with it, man. All this other stuff is terrible.
You should call up Anthony Rendon and how did you handle this, Anthony? Either get like an injury or a fake injury or just not want to play, and they'll buy you out at some point. Yeah. All right. Anything big picture you want to say as far as the slate, or shall we dive in? I saw they also kicked him out of the Netherlands lineup. I don't know if they're playing a real game today or just yet, or it's kind of maybe like a scrimmage. I think the USA was scrimmaging the Giants, I want to say. I don't know if that's happening today or tomorrow, but I did see that lineup drop. It's pretty sick. But Profar also got taken off I think he played for the Netherlands. I don't know if they kicked off the team in full, but yeah, he's no longer in the lineup there for the Dutch. Big picture, you got anything here as far as the slate, or shall we just dive on in?
Just dive, man. Just Greg Louganis it.
I still say you got to update that reference. I mean, you can't. Patches O'Houlihan, how about that? Does that work, or is that's dated too? I think, right? But he also not just diving; he did other things. He dipped, ducked, dove. What else did he do, Chop? Remember Patches?
Listen, you tell me the last great true diver, Olympic diver that you can remember other than Greg. No, don't Google it. I
got to Google. I don't know.
No, I'm saying exactly. You don't know. So if you give me one that comes up that rolls, you give me a diver, an Olympic diver that rolls off the tip of your tongue as fast as Greg Louganis, and I'll update my reference.
Rodney Dangerfield, the triple Indy being referenced in chat.
Oh, the triple Indy, I forgot. Yeah. Dangerfield was good. He was good.
Mellon. His name is Thornton Mellon was the guy's name. There you go. No Google on that. Hands are up here. I don't know. This is the useless information I have in my head. Okay, Chop, let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the first game. The first game on the slate. It is the Mavs. The Mavs and the Hornets. A blowout. That's what it is on paper, at least. 228.5 is a total. Charlotte is a big boy favorite. They are on the front end of a back-to-back as well. Taking a peek here as far as injury reports. Dallas is without a lot of dudes. Bagley's still out. Lively's still out. Biggs are out. Najee Marshall's out. Caleb Martin is probable with his back. They have a couple G League two-way guys to kind of keep an eye on, I suppose. Klay Thompson not officially out, but he's officially doubtful, so we're assuming he's out. At least where we're at is currently in projections. We're also projecting Cisse in currently. He's another one of those G League guys. They have three of them. And then PJ Washington is expected to play. Charlotte is very healthy with the exception of one player, Kobe White. Kobe White's got a calf, so he cannot play basketball tonight. How you feeling about the Hornets and the Mavs?
Yeah, so there's definitely ways to take advantage of this Maverick. Charlotte's playing really good ball. They're winning. They're trying to win, so you got a lot of good things going on with that. So they're going to play hard, and there's ways to take advantage of Dallas. And even, with the departure of AD trade market and the injuries they've had, you really get at this team. You can really get to them in the paint, right? Like that's one of the big things you can do for Dallas. You can attack that paint on them. You might be shocked to know this, Dean, but the number one paint scorer for Charlotte is Miles Bridges. So I kind of like Miles Bridges. I know there's a lot of love for Brandon Miller out there, like ownership wise, and I see some people writing him up in the, whatever surveys or tags or wherever you get that stuff. I get the Brandon Miller love. He's been really good. He's like 43 DraftKings points a game over his last 3 games. He's been on fire all day. He's a good player. I like him. This might be the Miles Bridges, more of a Miles Bridges game, though. I don't know, so I'm kind of on the Miles Bridges thing. Otherwise, Charlotte does spread things around a lot. They've got a lot of guys who are capable of beating you. So Miles Bridges might be my only real Diabate, maybe because of that inside presence you can get on Dallas. So I don't know. And then the Dallas side with the injuries, and Charlotte's not bad, and they're playing tough. I'm kind of not a big fan of Dallas, and they've got a lot of mouths there to try to feed. None of them are good, so it's a lot of spread out stuff. So I'm not really on Dallas, but the Charlotte side, I do like the guys who are the inside presence, which is Miles Bridges driving in the paint and Diabate man in the paint. So that's where I'm at on Charlotte and Dallas.
You might have said the same stat. I was reading something, so my apologies. But, yeah, Dallas gives up the most opponent points in the paint, like you're talking about. I know you're kind of referencing that sort of concept. And Charlotte also is an awesome rebounding team, with the second best rebounding team in basketball, only behind Houston. And Houston, you got to imagine, this is their season-long stats will take a hit in the absence of Steven Adams. So possibly Charlotte might be the best rebounding team in all of basketball right now, percentage-wise. And Dallas also gives up top 5 as far as boards. So I do think Diabate is a really interesting play. A little bit of a question as far as the blowout. They play tomorrow night. We are giving him 31 minutes, but if you tell me I'm getting 31 minutes Diabate, I think he's really, really interesting for tournaments. I'm currently seeing him at 10%. I don't make a ton of lineups. So if I was making 150, I'd be over the field at 10%, pretty handsomely, probably doubling it at least at 20%. I like Diabate a good bit. It very much feels chopped like a double-double on layaway to me. I know the price it's gone up, it's crept up, but he's certainly earned it as well. And I don't think his matchup is going to hurt him in any way. Let's see. Anything else as far as this matchup, or shall we scoot along?
Let's scoot along, Dean. We got a big slate. We ain't got time to be goofing around.
Basically nothing is hitting for Dallas. 3% for Max Christie, but who cares? And, unless some players get ruled out, which is possible. We're currently projecting 12 guys to play. There's some hedge minutes in there, like Tyler Smith, and this dude's name I cannot pronounce. I don't know if he plays basketball professionally or he's ever played just yet in the NBA. But some guys might get pulled back, but they're not getting projected for a lot of minutes anyway. So it just feels like a big old mess on Dallas and very, very easily avoidable. The other game at 7 o'clock, well, there's 2 more. The one that we're going to talk about next is Detroit. Detroit taking on Cleveland. Chopback's 227.5. That's the total. Detroit is a 3-point favorite in Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell is out. Dean Wade is currently questionable. They still have a pile of guys. I don't know how much that's going to change things, but just of note, we are currently projecting Wade to start. Of course, you don't play Wade because minutes equal money, sure, but not all minutes are created equal, and Dean Wade's minutes are created poorly, so you do not want to play him. Detroit. Oh, we get Beef Stew. Beef Stew's back tonight for Detroit. He's back from his suspension. So Detroit, Chop, fully healthy, and nobody suspended. See, it's if you want to spend up on Cunningham, by all means, I suppose you can. I'm not going to besmirch Jim Harden. Are we concerned about that thumb? A little bit. Jared Allen's played really well with the addition of Harden. They played well together nicely, but on the whole, Chop, I don't really like this game a heck of a lot. You tell me. Detroit and Cleveland, how you feeling about it?
On the whole, it's all right. I mean, I got a feeling, Dean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is the Eastern Conference Finals preview right here. I like both these teams.
Have you heard Jason Tatum's coming back on Friday?
It's okay. Can we be honest about the Celtics? And I know some people might not want to hear, but they didn't lose to the Knicks last year because they lost Jason Tatum.
It was already basically over, correct?
It was over with. It wasn't even close, Dean. That series wasn't close. That series could have been a 5-game blowout. Or, I just respectfully to everybody, I just think that Detroit's really good. They're good at what they do. I do worry about their scoring, lapses, but Cade can be a real good creator. I just think the addition of swapping out Garland for Harden, to me, Dean, puts Cleveland, who was already a pretty good offense. This is assuming Mitchell is healthy and Harden is healthy. and Mobley. They got injury issues, obviously, but
that thumb's not going away for Harden, right? He's going to deal with
but
it.
He's good enough to where he can still be a very, very good offensive player, even with a bad thumb, because he can do so many things. Doesn't have to score, doesn't have to shoot 3-pointers. So anyway, I think the swapping out Garland for Harden made that offense, which was already good, like it's going to be exceptional come playoff time. So I like that. I like this as maybe an Eastern Conference Finals preview right here. I wish Mitchell was healthy, but okay, that's fine. Because of that, and because the Detroit defense, I'm not on the Cleveland side that much, but I can certainly look at Cade Cunningham. I think it's going to be a competitive game. That keeps Cade Cunningham in play, even though he's super expensive on DraftKings. But he's very good, and this Cleveland defense is not great, not good at all. Actually, it has its lapses big time. So Cade's in play. Even with the Stewart coming back, Dean, I mean, Jalen Duren is projecting really well, as he should. He's averaged 51 DraftKings points over his last 5 games. He's gone through these stretches. This isn't the first time this year he's gone through these stretches where he's like been a 50-point scorer. Man, he's really found himself this year in Detroit as a fantasy performer. So I'm on Duren, man. Even though you would think with the Twin Towers in there, Mobley and Allen, it's not supposed to be easy. They're actually not that great on defense. So I'm okay with little Duren, man. So I'm on Cunningham, Duren. I'm not the rest of this. Alsir Thompson's a defensive guy. Don't really need that. Harris is what he is. He's not going to typically do it for you very much. Duncan Robinson, like if you want to go a wild card GPP off the radar, like low owned with 3-point upside, because that's what Cleveland will allow quite a bit of, is the three-point ball. And maybe you get that from Duncan. Maybe he's super hot. Other than that, it's Cunningham and Duren for me in this game. But I like the game in general, as staying close and staying competitive and being a good game.
Poll question, producer Steve: Who's winning the Eastern Conference? Is it Detroit, Boston, Cleveland, and we'll put New York in there for you as well. You'll be very upset. We got to put New York in there. So Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland. Who's winning the Eastern Conference? Let's see what the people have to say. The only player in double digits currently on DK is Cunningham, 16%. Everybody else, Duren at 7%. I don't mind him for tournaments. He's not really going to take a hit with Stewart, right? Stewart's minutes are basically going to be, he's going to take Reed's minutes. That's the presumption there. I think we're giving Reed one hedge minutes. Oh, look at producer Steve. Well, that's not the poll we were looking for. Well, someone else is going to win. Who's winning the Eastern Conference? Knicks or someone else? Someone else. Sorry. I think Steve's juicing the poll there. Yeah, and in FanDuel, we are getting some popular plays on FanDuel, somewhat surprisingly to me, but it's just lineup construction stuff. We are seeing 24% for Cunningham, 13 for Mobley. We are expecting Mobley's minutes to basically be full now. 33 minutes is the projection. They kind of babied him along there a little bit. Allen at 32, 12%. Duren center only, and you can only roster one center on FanDuel, so only 7% for Duren. Harden, you'd think a lot of usage, but again, who knows if he's going to be 100% with his thumb there. But in theory, I suppose there's a big ceiling. Second clue today for Fleet Tuesday is Bird, Kiss and Bird. Kiss and Bird. Those are our first 2 clues. Moving along, last game, 7 o'clock. Last game, Chop, is Washington. Just 9 players are dressing tonight for the Wizards. That's the expectation. Back-to-back, traveling in Orlando. Orlando got to be the biggest favorite they've been all season long. I would imagine they're 17-point home favorites. Who's in? Who's out for this affair? Well, Washington. We're expecting to get to Trae Young at some point. He did get a technical foul before actually playing for Washington. So shout out to Trae Young. They're saying he's going to come back, Chop. Does this make any sense? There's a tankathon happening on Thursday. Washington and Utah. Why would you bring Trae Young back to that game? I don't know. I don't. Why would you just? It's going to be a disaster. He's going to play 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. But, anyways, get excited for that. I see the excitement in your face, Chop. If that game was happening in your backyard, would you watch Washington and Utah play basketball? Maybe. Maybe you open the blinds.
Interesting question. Interesting. If it was literally in my backyard, I probably would.
Is there room? Can we make a game work?
But no, not right now.
Half
But
court?
you better get that game over with by 10 p.m. because 10 p.m. is when the freaking skunks come out, man, and start crossing through my yard. So you guys got to be done by then.
The skunks come out at night. They don't. What are they doing at 9 o'clock?
It's insane. I don't know. They're nocturnal. I guess they sleep as once it really gets dark and things start to wind down, that's when they get active. And so I got my camera set up out back. I catch them every night, man. It's all up and down my yard. They're crossing
You ever get
through.
skunked on?
Not me, but my dog. That makes it an absolute nightmare. That's what makes them a nightmare, man. The dog's been sprayed a couple of times. Man, it's so bad.
Oh man,
you have to
And the dog has no clue what happened, right? Like he doesn't
no clue. It's like it sticks with him, even if you get him to PetSmart the very next morning, they can kind of get rid of most of it, but he still has a lingering smell like a burned tire, like a burned rubber tire. That night is a nightmare because you're trying to give him as quick of a bath as you can to get most of it. It's just the skunks are bad, but you can't kill them. It's against the law here to kill them. So I can't kill them. I don't even think I'm supposed to don't even think I'm supposed to trap them. I don't know. I gotta read the updated laws, but
the chat's saying tomato juice. By the way, give your dog tomato juice bath. Yep. Apparently, that's what
certainly heard that. But when you don't know when your dog is going to get skunked, you just don't typically have 5 gallons of tomato juice laying around. But I mean, each their own, whatever.
Those doomsday preppers, they're ready. They're ready for anything. All right. So I was starting with the Washington injury list. They're still without big dudes. Alex Sarr's got a hamstring, so he's not playing basketball. Vucevic, he's got a thigh. He can't play. We mentioned Trae Young. They're talking about him coming back. He's not coming back just yet. Maybe against Utah. Gill, the other big player, he still has the fish. He got skunked on. He's not playing basketball tonight. Keshawn George is out with his elbow. Again, we're down to 9 live bodies for Washington, taking on our Orlando team that is going to be without Anthony Black, no Franz Wagner. Otherwise, they're good to go. We've seen De Silva play a bunch of minutes in the absence. Oh, this is the narrative game, right, Chop? This is the one where we're expecting Julian Reese to start once again. Angel's brother, and my understanding is that Angel Reese is dating Wendell Carter Jr. Are you aware of this?
Didn't know that.
What do you think of that narrative?
Does he like him or not? Is he a good guy? If you're telling me Wendell Carter may have given Angel one of these, before, then Julian Reese is going to be, he's going to be hyped up for this game. But if Wendell's a nice guy and he treats the sister with respect, there should be no narrative there. But I don't know, man.
Maybe Wendell wants to be kind to the Julian Reese and get him another 10-day contract. I don't really know, but just let him show, because he didn't show anything last night. He was pretty dreadful last night. He played a bunch of minutes, but he was a stone disaster. We talked about that with Şengün, and it did not seem like a good, just the Houston defense overall. He's going to play a bunch. He's 3K still on DK. Still minimum, I believe, on FanDuel as well. They're still down to 9. So and most of these guys are pretty cheap too. And you're not sure if they're going to just bench Koulibaly in the 4th. They don't necessarily always do that, but they will sometimes when the game's close. This game's probably not going to be close. You can tell yourself stories about Cooper or Hardy, I think. I was trying to figure out who would be the 30-point game, whatever it is. Who's mopping it up at the end. And I feel pretty good about Hardy mopping. I think Reese plays either way. I think he mops. He closes if it's a close game. And then we have, Orlando, of course, well-positioned to score a fair bit of fantasy points. You got to pay for him. But Banchero certainly looks like he's pretty good. He's in the 9s, though. Javon Carter looks like a pretty good play as well. We're expecting 27 minutes at a ham. Desmond Bane, kind of up and down this year, but this feels like a spectacular matchup. And then there's Wendell Carter against, the defense of Reese. Magic and Wizards, the Harry Potter game.
Okay, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, you see what we did there?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to do there. I mean, the Wizards are who they are. They stink on defense. They're probably arguably one of the, fantasy-wise, the most like luxurious defenses to play against, I would imagine, which is crazy that Orlando doesn't have the highest team total, because typically anybody playing Washington is going to have the highest team total that night. But yeah, you can get them. You can get them from anywhere on the court: threes, paint, mid-range, rebounding, steals, blocks. All of it is right there at your disposal against the Wizards. So it's just a matter of who do you think it's going to be for Orlando? Would it shock you to see whoever leads Orlando in fantasy points tonight, Dean? Would it surprise you to see them land in the optimal?
No.
Exactly. So you just got to you got to hope you nail, who the guy is that's going to exceed his value by that much. Banchero could do it. Bane certainly sets up to be in a pretty decent position. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, I kind of like Jalen Suggs to blow past his price tag, which is fairly reasonable. Then if you want to talk about the narrative that you just did, not just the I'm dating your sister narrative, but the narrative of these guys on Washington cannot defend the paint. These guys are bad. Wendell Carter could have a big game, and he's only 5,400 on DraftKings. So, yeah, any of those guys, it wouldn't surprise me to see end up in an optimal tonight. So I think they're all in play. If you had to twist my arm, who's my favorite? Probably Suggs and then Bane. And then for Washington, I didn't want to go a whole lot of Washington this morning, but, it's going to be hard to kind of –
It's 9 guys.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get away from them altogether. I don't like the Will Riley price tag. I think he has the biggest projection on the team, but I don't like that price tag. Like Julian Reese costed me a chance to at least min cash last night. That's for sure. Like I was on a pretty good path there. He cost me, but I'm willing to go back again tonight, Dean. Willing to go back to Julian Reese again tonight. So at 3K, the price hasn't moved. I'm good. I think I'm good to go with there. I'm gonna go with some Julian Reese tonight. That's my favorite Wizards player because I know he has it in his game that he can put up some points.
So he played 28 minutes last night, and he also fouled out with 4 minutes to go. So he probably was going to play 32. Again, there's nobody else basketball big, that's available here. I think he plays close to 30 minutes, assuming he doesn't get fouled out. What was his – I want to see what his usage was. I bet it was a dangerously low number. Let's see.
11%.
Yeah, that's 10. I'm seeing 10, but yeah, it's not 10 or 11. That's the same. That's not
he
good.
Doesn't have to get the usage though. As a big guy, he can grab rebounds. He's a pretty decent playmaker too for a big guy. Not that they're gonna turn him loose on the offense, but
he can be a jump man around just picking up boards, that kind of thing.
He doesn't have to be like he doesn't have to be a high usage guy. But although I know he has that in him to be pretty good at that, but. Yeah, 3K, man. 3K stands out to me.
Who's your favorite Wizard darts? I think mine is Hardy. He's a guy that can cook. Like in a game it doesn't matter. That's when he shines. Like it's just you're down by 20 and let him have the fourth quarter and he'll keep firing away.
Yeah, my favorite dart. So just a dart. I think Bub Carrington. Just because I think he's still playing with a lot of emotion. Like he's still playing with a lot of fire. I think he's got it in him. He's had big games. He could have the run of whatever he wants tonight. He's looking at the lineup. He's got to be like the senior leader here, man. He's the guy, right?
Koulibaly, maybe. Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah, I think maybe it's Carrington.
Senior leader. Is Carrington a little bit older? I'm not sure. It's a bunch of young guys.
Just NBA experience compared to these other guys. Like he's probably already like the senior guy, right?
I think Hardy's probably been around longer. I think
Jaden Hardy.
I think so,
Maybe.
But they're all young, right? Oh, by the way, is this Leaky Black revenge game? Wasn't he in the Magic?
I
think he was.
Does it?
I don't know if it matters.
Leaky Black is bad.
I know, but maybe they give him a little bit extra run here versus Orlando. Who are the three guys that don't play if this game gets out of hand?
He might.
Oh, no, 4.
From 3 3 fantasy points to 4 fantasy points if they give him a little extra run tonight.
It's a 25% increase. That's pretty impressive. So the 4 guys that sit, if this game gets goofy, Koulibaly, Trey Johnson. I think it's Bub. I think it's Carrington, Trey Johnson, Koulibaly, and Shenpenny. I think those are the 4 that don't play the end of the game, but it's all guesswork there. I think the 5 that are on the court, if this game is goofy, is Cooper, Black, Reese, Riley, and Reese. Wait, did I say Reese twice? I did the dip duck dogs thing. He repeated Reese twice. Hardy, Cooper, Black, Reese, Riley. I think those are the 5 that close if this game gets ugly. There's some guesswork there, obviously. It's not Tony Hawk, by the way, Chop. Tony Hawk was your guest there for Fleet Thursday. I will give you the third clue. For Fleet Thursday. No, it's Tuesday. Fleet Tuesday. There you go. I'm tripping myself up. Relocates. Kiss, Bird, and relocate. Those are the 3 clues there. Week free of RG Premium. Next game up. That's last of the 7 o'clock games. Brooklyn's taking on Miami. My Miami Heat are home to the Nets. They're big boy favorites. They're 13-point favorites. 225.5 is the total. Unless we got news on this, I assume we still have Davion Mitchell currently questionable. It's last I saw. He's got that shoulder. Don't know if he's playing. Miami does list a lot of players as available. It's annoying, so I will ignore those. Jovic is out with his back. Norm Powell, he's got a groin. He's not playing with his groin tonight. And as far as Brooklyn is going to play. Claxton's available. Jaeger Yeoman, plantar fascia, so he's out. So no Yeoman. And nobody else really of note here for the Nets. The Nets taking on Miami. How you feeling about my Heat and Brooklyn?
Your Heat and Brooklyn. Yeah, I had some plays I like. I didn't mind in this game, Dean. I didn't mind. I don't know if you read the survey, Dean. Did you read
what
the survey?
What did we say?
My hot take was that Michael Porter Jr. and Tyler Hero were going to get into like a big time battle and like each drop like 40 plus. I think I put 95 combined.
Ooh,
yeah. I think there's something there. Michael Porter Jr. Even with
is there
the way
beef there? Hero likes the
no. It's just I like the way the game's going to flow here for these guys. That I like the pace that Miami's going to play out, what they give up. I think Porter Jr. can attack really well. Not to mention he's the alpha of that team scoring wise. So I think he's in a good spot. And Tyler Hero, this one will surprise you, Dean. Okay, let me pull up Brooklyn real quick. I forget what I was looking at. They are the worst, or they are one of the. You can attack them in the paint, right? Let me see.
Sure.
Yeah, you can attack them in the paint. Yeah, because they've been pretty decent at the 3-point line as far as volume, but you can get them in the paint.
6 most paint points in the league.
Yeah. You'd be shocked, Dean, to know this. This is another shocking stat. Tyler Hero, by far, one of the best Miami players at attacking the paint. Like he's got more paint points than Bam Adebayo. Well, not paint points because of the injury, but on a per game basis.
Doesn't shock me.
Well, what's shocking is that at one point he was just known as a mid-range guy. Now that was his that was his problem, was just too many mid-ranges. Then he kind of moved out and said, I'm just going to shoot 3-pointers really well. He does that really well. Now he's attacking the paint, Dean. If he's shooting 3-pointers and attacking the paint, he becomes a really good offensive player. But so I kind of like Tyler Hero in this matchup to get some things going in the paint. So I like the Porter Hero run back in GPPs, but could you play a Danny Wolf? You could. Not in love with the Claxton or the Wolf. No, I'm not going Day'Ron Sharp in this game. I'm about done with the Day'Ron Sharp season. But yeah, so I don't like that. And on the flip side, Adebayo's okay, but prefer Hero over him. Wiggins and Jaquez and Ware don't cut it for me, so I'm kind of on the Tyler Hero thing here. I do like him. I don't know if I'm certainly going to be over the field on him. I don't know if I was running one lineup, I don't know if he'd make it, but I do like the Porter Hero run back in this game.
If I do play Porter, which I'm almost definitely not, I don't make a lot of lineups, and I just don't like playing him as a general thought. But I don't disagree with your thought process, and this definitely seems like an environment where Porter can thrive and just take a bunch of shots. But if I were to play him, I would definitely run him back with somebody at Miami. And Hero's probably the best option. 7-3, the price I don't think is fully adjusted to the new role. I shouldn't say new role, but like full minutes now. To Tyler Hero starting, playing mid-30s now. I do think Khalil Ware is an interesting flyer. I don't know if I make enough lineups to get there, but he's a little bit interesting, just kind of listening to stuff down here in South Florida. Bam, I don't know if Bam's like, yeah, Khalil Ware listens to me. He doesn't listen to the coach. And Bam also wants to play alongside Khalil Ware. He's like kind of touting him a little bit. And we've seen an up and down season, and it's hard to predict. 29 minutes, 12 minutes, 19 minutes. He's all over the board, all over the shop. But if he gets some run, and also he would get blowout run in this game too. I think Ware is a really, really interesting tournament play against a Brooklyn team that Miami should handle. And this is, if he gets 25 minutes or so, he could put up 12, and 4, something like that. You can rack up the stocks as well. You can also bang some threes. I don't think I'm getting there just because, again, I don't make enough lineups, but I would definitely have in my pool if I was running, 40 or 50 lineups, something of that sort. And I don't think he's going to be owned in any real capacity. Where do we currently have him? Yeah, less than 1%. We're giving him 20 minutes. You got to give a median projection, but I think there's a world where he plays 26 or so and thrives. Anything else here as far as Brooklyn and Miami?
Nope.
See Bobby in chat trying to stick me with a bill. He wants to take me out, and he says I want to take Dean out with my family, and then I want to stick him with the bill and leave Mighty Ducks style. Which I gotta say, I've not seen Mighty Ducks in a long time. I don't get that reference. I remember they played hockey, like the Flying V. I remember that. But Goldberg was the goalie, right? But I don't remember anything else. Emilio Estevez, great coach, I guess. But there you go. So Bobby's going to stick me with the. Do you remember this from the Mighty Ducks? Should I watch the Mighty Ducks again? They played like Iceland or Finland in the other. Was it Finland or Iceland in the second or third one? They ran out of ideas at some point.
I haven't seen a Mighty Ducks movie.
Ever?
Ever?
Never saw one?
Never seen a Mighty Ducks movie. But I will say I did want to say this, Dean. No spoilers, please. No spoilers from the people out there. I had to say an underrated movie franchise, Dean, that's been around for 30 years, I think now.
Yeah.
It's really good. And speaking of TV Tuesday, was based on a TV show at one point.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. The Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise. They've always been good, and each one of them is their own little story, and it's good, and it can interlap with the other ones. And I'm just now and I typically don't like these 3-hour movies, but I like these movies. These ones keep me interested. Like I'm working on the last one right now. I had to break it down into 3 parts because it's 3 hours.
How's that even? You're not even watching a movie at that point. You're like watching a TV show.
It's a movie, but it's it's like an hour at a time at night is good. So I'm gonna finish it up. I got like 40 minutes left tonight to wrap up that, and it's the last one ever. But it's like you're
watching the newest one. Where is it streaming somewhere for free?
Yeah, it's streaming now.
Oh, I didn't.
But I mean, you obviously got to watch.
It's not good. I heard it's like all. I heard it's a big mess, but I haven't seen it.
No. So far, so good. These things, like, they're smart. They keep you in tune with the movie. Like, the action stuff is really good, and Tom Cruise is really good. No, I like it. I like him quite a bit. I think it's an underrated franchise, and I'm working on the last one right now. But you gotta watch them all, man, to be able to watch the last one. It can kind of stand alone, but then you don't know the characters that they're bringing back. You don't know what they really mean, So I think it's interesting. Yeah, that's a good franchise, Dean. I like that.
Tom Cruise, the last movie star before AI takes over all the movies.
Been around for 30 years, Dean.
Yeah. I guess the first one was in the 90s or so, right? With John Voight.
A younger Ving Rhames and Tom Cruise and John Voight. Yeah,
it was good. The Mask. No spoilers.
Oh man, those were good. That's always
He's still
fun.
doing that though. I think that's still a thing.
Yeah, of course, man. If you could, and the crazy part is, Dean, that's like real life nowadays. You can literally. Did you read about the Jim Carrey guy?
I've only saw like a headline, like I don't know if it was Jim Carrey or it wasn't Jim Carrey. But I know
No,
it's
it
like
wasn't. It was a mask.
I didn't watch it. I just
And
know
it
like a
looks
thing happened.
so realistic. It's crazy. Yeah, we're doomed, man. Everybody's doomed.
It's over.
It is over.
Yeah. It was like an artist, right? I think it was an artist that like pretended to be Jim Carrey, and people were saying that he had work done. I guess they weren't saying it wasn't Jim Carrey. They just said he maybe had some work done. But all right, let's knock out the next game. Next game at 7:30. It's New York. Producer Steve's Knicks taking on Toronto. 221.5 is the total. Toronto's a 3-point dog here at home. Who's in? Who's out? As far as the injury report, let's take a peek. Well, it's really clean. CMB. Murray Boyles is out for Toronto, but that really doesn't matter so much because Pirtle's back for Toronto as well. For New York, they're pretty healthy. McBride's been out forever. Nothing's changed there. The Mitch Rob thing is interesting because he's not on the injury report. They play tomorrow night, and I think they play OKC tomorrow night. So does that mean they're not going to play him tomorrow night? Usually they would like pick the game that makes more sense, right? But it seems like he's going to be playing tonight unless I miss something. And I'm assuming he doesn't play tomorrow against OKC. But, that's what we're looking at. Two fully healthy teams, essentially, with New York and Toronto. How you seeing the Knicks and the Raptors?
Yeah, it's an interesting game, especially in real life. For fantasy, it's I don't have anybody highlighted, and as expected, because I don't think there's anybody in this game that's going to be over, like just barely crossing the 5% ownership threshold. Like it's going to be a very low-owned game, but that could be an opportunity in GPPs. I mean, the Knicks they can be pretty good offensively, but they could also be pretty bad defensively. So maybe you can take advantage of it with a Scotty Barnes or an Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel Quickly revenge. Can I interest you in an Emmanuel Quickly revenge game?
Nah, I mean, who's more vengeful, Quickly or RJ Barrett?
Exactly. So, there's going to be several guys for Toronto that project pretty well, pretty decent as far as volume. So, you could play one of those because I think you can take advantage of the Knicks on defense. And at the same time, when Brunson gets hot, he can carry you in GPPs. If Cat stayed out of foul trouble and he was hitting some shots, he could carry you to a GPP. Josh Hart can always stuff the stat sheet. Probably not into the OG and Mikal Bridges thing. So, that's probably where I draw the line is the top three. But I think any of these guys, the top guys in this game, could make for a nice little competitive game where both teams are trying to win and make for a nice run back with somebody from the other side. I think it's a good game with no ownership. If I was running one lineup, I don't think I'd have a single player in this game. But with 20 lineups, I think that there's a possibility. And I think if I did that, I think I would want somebody on the other side. If I ran Brunson, I probably would want to go Quickly on the other side or Barnes on the other side or something like that. So I think, this thing can stay close, man. I think it can stay close. But, I don't know. It's nothing jumping off to me, though, Dean, for like cash games or anything.
I don't anticipate having anybody in this game. Like you said, the ownership is basically non-existent. Taking a peek here, most popular play, I think you said Barrett. Yeah, 5% or so on DK. FanDuel, similar story, 7% for Quickly, 7% for Bridges, 6% for Barnes. Chop, this is just a game that I hope doesn't go to overtime, and then I feel okay. Doesn't go overtime. I feel like perfectly fine making it a 7-game slate and just crossing this one out. Next clue for you, Chop, is orange. Fleet Tuesday, orange. Orange is the fourth clue. It is Kiss, Bird, Relocate, Orange. I mean, by the way, Chop, just so you know, I keep saying for you. I do keep saying for you. You know why I keep saying for you?
Why?
Because somebody got it in one. Would you believe
no
somebody
way,
got this in
dude.
one?
No way.
Yeah. I've been tilting the whole time. I think it was my guy J3 too. My guy J3 got it in one. And I believe he said, that's we want team. He wants to give it away to somebody. And I think, Steve, are we giving it away to somebody? Is it?
Well, don't. How about we give it away to the next person that guesses it correctly? Why don't we go delete his message?
The answer, it's already out. You can't lock the stable when the horse is left. The toothpaste and the tube,
How come I didn't know this? I didn't hear that. You didn't tell me nobody.
I didn't. Well, because you tell me not to tell you. Because then it ruins the game for you. Yeah, and anybody else that is not looking at the Discord channel, they're playing along there at home. But I figured I'd eventually let the people know that, we got a winner in one. We got a hole in one.
Is it Cal Ripken?
It is not, but you're on the right track. Yeah, it's not Cal Ripken.
Is it a baseball player?
It is. Yeah.
Is it an Oriole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, Kiss, Bird, relocate, Orange. So I don't know how much research you've done for the upcoming baseball season. There's a new animal joining the Baltimore Orioles this year.
Wait a minute.
He likes the Arctic.
What do you mean by joining the Orioles?
Just they added somebody in the offseason.
Oh, somebody. Okay, wait a minute. I know that Pete Alonso.
Yes.
Pete Alonso. They did add him. I don't know.
They did add Pete. The polar bear. The polar bear.
Polar bear. Is that the name of? Is that the answer? Big Meat Pete.
That is the answer. Yeah. We'll break down the
all right.
later on, but,
I was on when the clues. What's the clue scrolling? So Kiss, I didn't know. Bird, okay. Bird and relocate. I started thinking this is a franchise with a bird's name that relocated to another city. So I'm
like the Cardinals or something like that?
Raven, Baltimore, Indy to Baltimore Raven. Yeah, Cardinals.
Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah.
But, yeah, the relocate was for the player. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that. Do
you know the bases, Chop? We don't need to get into it, but you've heard where, you get first base, second base, third base, What position does Pete Alonso play?
What does he play?
He plays first base. And what is first base?
This is a joke.
What's the first clue?
Kiss.
Yeah, you've never heard the bases before?
Oh my gosh, no, that's a bad
great
clue. That's a bad clue.
I can't believe somebody got it on that. They just threw the name.
Wait, so you put Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody guessed Pete Alonso.
Yes.
I don't know how they did it either. Give that person a microphone right now and bring them on the air. I want to know what they were thinking. There's no way.
That's our guy J3.
If your mindset was first base, Kiss is just going to first base. There's no way. There's no way. They had to think of something.
According to the chat, it's just rigged. So
that is either rigged.
I
want that guy to have a microphone, and I want to bring him on right now. Make that happen.
Well, producer Steve's going to
make that happen. I want to know this guy's mindset. He's about to get grilled, man. I think there's some shenanigans going on here.
We get a downgrade, a very late downgrade. Anthony Edwards, and this might be just the opponent, right? Anthony Edwards downgraded the questionable. We'll talk about that game soon enough, but they're facing the Grizzlies, and they're, 14, 15-point favorites, so they probably don't need him. Do they play tomorrow? Or is it no, they don't play tomorrow. Interesting. But, yeah, we got a late downgrade from Ant, and I'm curious to leave the light on for Minnesota players because that can be really, really of note. Maybe like a Desumo or something like that. That can kind of change things up. We might get the debut of Instant Revenge out of Kyle Anderson, but we should move along and talk about the next game up. Oh, 3 games. 3 games at 8 o'clock. And you know what? These games are good, Chop, because if we're waiting for Ant news, these are good games to have to play with to kind of give you some versatility because I think we're going to want some pieces in the Thunder and the Bulls, the Josh Giddey revenge game, Alex Caruso revenge game. 230.5 is the total. OKC is in the front end. Again, tomorrow, I think they're playing New York. Hartenstein will get his revenge tomorrow. Lots of players out for the Thunder, so the Thunder are going to be looking pretty good. No Brandon Carlson, which is somewhat important, makes him down to 11. SGA's not playing basketball. He's got a strain. Hartenstein, they gave him a right solace. I don't know what that is. Solace? It really hurts, though. I'm sure he's in a lot of pain. AJ Mitchell is out with an abdominal strain. That's a real injury. Topic is in the G League, so he's not available. The good Jalen Williams not available with his hamstring. So they're down to 11 in OKC. Zach Collins out for the season for Chicago. Still no Jaden Ivey. Anthony Simons is out as well. Jalen Smith, he's got a calf. Patrick Williams did that quad. They are really thin. They still have enough bodies, though. Leonard Miller is one of those guys that could be an interesting cheapie, I suppose. But Yeah, Thunder and the Bulls. A lot of the Thunder players to me look pretty good, especially the cheapies. Jalen Williams, Kason Wallace. We've seen him thrive in the absence of some of the studs here. And the matchup, of course, really, really spectacular against Chicago. How you feel about the Bulls and the Thunder?
Dean, I'm feeling pretty good about this game. If we're being perfectly honest about it right now, the Oklahoma City's, like you kind of alluded to it, they're just missing so many guys right now that Carter is out. Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Oh man, so much for that whole.
Oh, wait a second. So the Reese put a call in? It's like, don't hold on a second.
Man, that's interesting.
He doesn't want to play against his girlfriend's brother?
His sister, his girlfriend's brother. That's interesting.
Huh. Okay.
That's actually pretty big.
Is it Mo Wagner? Who's going to start here?
We're going to have to readdress that later on. We'll go back to it.
Goga Batadze?
We're going. Yeah.
Goga would be awesome in this game, by the way.
He really would, because somebody's gonna ravage the inside of that defense. All right, so OKC's missing so many guys. I think there's a lot of guys that jump out. Kason Wallace is getting a ton of most ownership in this game. Deservedly so for the projection compared to the price tag and all that. The guy I'm kind of interested in is a similar kind of guy, Isaiah Joe. I like Isaiah Joe in this game, Dean. A little bit cheaper. I think that's a pretty good one. And then I love Chet Holmgren if you're able to spend up on him. He's not terribly expensive, but in this particular matchup, I could see Chet Holmgren thriving. Yeah. So I do like Chet. And then the other OKC name I'm going to throw out there is Jared McCain. I'm going to throw that out there because he seemed to have found a little bit of what he was missing in Philly this year. He's kind of doing some things. But the biggest thing for Jared McCain is that this is a 10.5-point spread, or at least it was earlier in the day. And every game that OKC has played in since he's joined them, where the outcome has been, I guess, something, if you want to call it a blowout, I don't know what you call a blowout, it's just win that you said. But if you want to call it a blowout, every game he's played, even when they've lost and when they've won, he's the guy who finishes the game. So I like Jared McCain for that. I think he can finish this game and get a little bit in the meantime too. And Chicago's not particularly good. And on the other side, I think there's guys on Chicago. This is not the OKC defense it was last year, that historically good defense. They're struggling a bit. They still suffocate the paint, but they're giving up a ton of three-pointers from everywhere on the court. Josh Giddey's an adequate enough three-point shooter. He can get there. Bazulis is also, so I don't mind him. But Giddey's the one that jumps out. It's a good price tag. He's gotten his fantasy game back on track the last couple of games. It's a revenge spot. You know what else you can do against OKC, Dean? You can rebound. They will give up rebounds. Josh Giddey's the leading rebounder for this team, I believe. I think of the active players. He stuffs the stat sheet.
More than Yabusele? I guess he's getting more minutes. Yeah.
So I like Josh Giddey quite a bit, and he's cheap, man. This is like earlier in the year, we're talking about a 9K plus player at least. Like when he's dropping them 50 and 60-point games, now he's down to 7-8. This is a good game right here. I like it. I like many pieces in this game.
We'll circle back on Orlando, our projection team. Just they put Mo Wagner. Oh, that's a revenge game for Mo Wagner, isn't it? Right? They put Mo Wagner in the starting lineup. Man, I really think one of Wagner or Batadze is going to have a big game against Washington. How many minutes can they play Wagner? He's kind of babied right now. Okay, we'll circle back on that. I'm excited about either Wagner or Goga Batadze, though, which is a sick thing to say, but that's where I'm at right now. We did see Giddey jump over 30 minutes finally. We haven't seen that in a while. You mentioned that. We saw he's coming off a big game, triple-double, I believe. Yeah, he messed around versus Milwaukee, 20, 14, and 10. There was also a blowout, too, 32 minutes. They won that game by, 25 or so against the Bucks. I do like Giddey as the run back. And you're talking about on the Thunder, you're talking about McCain. Very clearly, he closes. This game gets squirrely, right? It's only a 10-point line. They're without some real players on OKC, but they have 11 guys, and Joe, Dort, Wiggins, Holmgren, Wallace, Caruso don't close, right? So which also tells me I think Jalen Williams closes an ugly game too, and I think he's good in like a close game. So he's my favorite play in this game. Jalen Williams and Cason Wallace. I'm pretty sure Jalen Williams' minutes are really, really secure, like mid-20s or so, and he would also close. And we see how good he can be when he gets some run. Both Williams are like of note, Kenrich and Jalen, but I prefer Jalen. We are assuming it's Wallace, Dort, Joe, Wiggins, and Holmgren starting. That is kind of our assumption. And Caruso just not going to start, not going to play enough minutes, not going to close in an LB game, not a big usage guy. Like he'll do fine out there with probably some stocks with the Bulls, but not something I'm terribly interested in. You said I do agree with McCain though. Like I like Wallace, Jalen, McCain. I'll have at least one of these guys in every lineup I make, almost for sure. And I do like Giddey as the run back. He's my favorite Bull. It sounded like he was your favorite Bull as well, Giddey?
By far.
Yeah. I do want to circle back on Orlando. We still have 2 games to go. Again, we're giving Wagner the starts. We're not for sure going to know that until we get to 7 o'clock. Okay, if we don't know it, crunch time's going to know it. You got Tim in the bullpen. TastefulTides, Tim, and Will. The 2 of them are jumping on in about 20 minutes or so. Yeah, our likes are down. Am I supposed to beg and grovel and give away wheel spins and all that to get the likes up? They want me to sing and dance and juggle. Just hit the like button. Come on.
Let's do something different moving forward, Dean.
Okay.
Let's like when Athlete Thursday comes up on Thursday or whatever it's going to be. I don't know what you're going to do on Thursday. Let's not give the first clue until 25 likes. And then let's not give the second clue until 50 likes. You know what I'm saying? Let's make the people
for likes clues.
Earn the clues. And it's going to, let's earn the clues, guys. That's what we need to do. Because 33 is a little disrespectful for, this is my time and your time, and we're sitting here and we're giving this hour and 15 minutes, and it's not about the hour and 15. That's nothing. It's about the 4 hours of research Dean and myself put into this thing leading up to the show, so we could be educated on this slate. It's a lot of our day gone, and we need the likes, guys. Come on, it's not a hard concept. They ain't hurting you.
Producer Steve likes that idea a lot. He's a big fan of that idea. So Mo Wagner is popping pretty hard. Here's the updated projections on Orlando. 21 minutes, just 21 minutes of Mo Wagner. I don't know how much more he can play than that. What's the most he's played recently? Probably around that threshold. That's 13, 15, 10, 11. So that's a jump. But again, those games also are games where Wendell Carter wasn't playing. I think 20 is pretty reasonable to expect. That doesn't seem too crazy. If this game does get out of hand, though, he's probably one of the first ones pulled. Yeah, so we're giving Mo Wagner 21 minutes. Da Silva 32, Carter 26, Banchero 35, Bain 34, Suggs 25. We're giving Bataze 14 because Jonathan Isaac, come on, can he go away? 16 minutes to Isaac. I still think Bataze is a really interesting tournament play. If he somehow gets like 18 minutes in this game, which I think he can, right? How many minutes is Isaac going to play? I want to play at least one lineup of Bataze. He just seems like a fun play. But, he might play 12 minutes. I don't know. What's your thoughts there as far as our minutes there for Orlando? Chop, anything you want to add? Do you think that seems like a fair numbers for the Magic?
We'll see what the starting lineup is when it comes out. If the starting lineup is Mo Wagner starting, then I trust those minutes 100%. It might be
Bataze starting.
It might be Bataze. Right? Yeah, it might be Bataze season though. If he's starting, then we're good to go. But whoever starts is the guy I'm going to play, and the other guy probably going to split a little time, like you said, with Isaac, and so I probably don't want that player. But we'll see who's starting. I'm not so convinced it's going to be Wagner right now.
I'm not convinced of it, but I think he's probably the leading candidate to face his old team. And I don't.
Why? Because it's his old team. You think they got a little narrative working there?
Why not give him the start against his old team? Sure, I would imagine so. And he's just ahead of Gogo Bataze in the hierarchy, right?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Lippy says Can you play De Silva?
Sure.
Man, I would. You can play whatever you want, but I wouldn't play that corner stander.
You could play De Silva.
He's just playing. He's just doing.
He's gonna play 30 minutes.
Just doing jumping jacks out there.
And he's facing Washington. Like I understand, like he's not a great usage player, but he's gonna play 30 minutes. He's playing Washington, so I think you could play De Silva. It's just a matter of I didn't run new lineups. I'm curious how much Magic pops up. Probably 2 or 3 Magic players. Slight boost for Mancaro, slight boost for Bain, not a ton, but all right. Let's talk about these last 2 games here. The 8:00 games, Spurs and the Sixers. I think this is the NBC Peacock game, if I'm not mistaken. The front half of the Peacock doubleheader. Is it Phoenix? They're back in Sacramento. I don't know why they booked these. I don't know how far in advance they booked these games, but I think they're stuck with Sacramento tonight. The back half of the Peacock doubleheader. Spurs, Sixers, 232.5 is the total. Philadelphia is an 8-point home dog to the Spurs because, Joel Embiid, he's got an oblique strain. He's out. No PG-13. Kelly Oubre, he had the fish, so he cannot play basketball. He's ill. He's out, meaning we're expecting Quentin Grimes to jump in that starting lineup, and he's projecting really strong point per dollar. San Antonio, fully healthy with the exception of, whatever. Mason Plumlee cares. Return to competition, reconditioning. Everybody else, G League players, nobody else injured. So San Antonio, a full allotment of players. If you want to spend up on somebody, you certainly can spend up on Wemby against Andre Drummond. Like Bona, whatever they're going to be throwing at him. I think Wemby is a pretty interesting tournament play. How you feeling about the Spurs and the Sixers?
It's at Philly at least. At least that helps keep it close, in my opinion. If it was at San Antonio, I would be scared that San Antonio would beat them by 20 plus. And you said this game's on TV?
This is they're all on TV, but this is the Peacock doubleheader, yeah.
This is so we get to see Wembanyama on the cock?
Yes. And also we saw this is the game that Keita went absolutely nuts against Philly last time when I think it was no Embiid, and Keita just absolutely destroyed, exposed, whatever you want to say. The combination of Bona and Drummond put up that 2020 game or something of the sort. I think Wemby can absolutely smash here. Just a matter of lineup construction.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They had their 11-game win streak snapped against the Knicks here last time out. I think it's going to be a spot where Wembanyama, I give him credit, Dean. Not only is he like this freakish athlete and all, freakish size and all that, he has a competitive spirit in him that a lot of guys don't have these days. So I think he's
somebody watched the All-Star game.
Well, it's been there long before that. You could see it long before that. The whole Oklahoma City rivalry that he's built. He built that himself, and some of the other stuff he's done along the way. So, yeah, he's got that thing anywhere coming off of a loss. I got a feeling we're going to see the best Wemby. So I definitely like that spot for him. It's on the road, like I said, so it's more competitive and keeps him on the game a little bit longer. Now, the other guys I'm not as big of a fan of on the Spurs because they all seem to bleed into the same player, like Castle, Fox, Vassell, Harper. Like, you're all the same guy, man. So I'm kind of not on that. And Champagny has to sit out there and shoot threes. If he gets hot, he can make value. Otherwise, don't want it. Keldon Johnson, a no-go. But Wemby, he's definitely a big-time spin-up. And considering now that we can play a cheap Mo Wagner and a cheap Julian Reese, you may be able to easily put Wembanyama in every lineup.
That's 3 centers.
Oh, nobody has power? Wemby's not power forward? Wemby's not a center. He plays more power forward than
Take it up with DraftKings. He's power forward on FanDuel.
Okay, on FanDuel. Man, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of a roamer, man. He's not really a true center, but okay. Which is why they get beat in the paint, is because he roams out, and plays more mid-range and blocks those kind of shots instead of defending the rim. And the rim is where you can get to him, which is why Tyrese is going to, probably still do well despite taking on a tough defense. Tyrese Maxey gets to the rim quite easily with his speed. So I can see him having a good game. Edgecombe. Grimes is actually jumping off the charts there, man, with the $4,300 salary. Mm-hmm. But I prefer Edgecombe spinning up. I think that's a little bit better. Not into the Drummond, Barlow, Bona, whatever. Not into all that. But Maxey, He's a little too expensive for me, but I get it. He could easily drop a 60-point game here if he gets it rolling. Edgecombe is the sixer I prefer, but Wembanyama is going to be tough to keep out of lineups for me tonight. I just think he's so easy for him. And you know what? His game suits FanDuel better anyway, where you can play him at FanDuel. With the blocks, that suits FanDuel anyhow, so maybe that's a place you lock him in. But that's kind of where I'm at. Is Wemby's probably my favorite spend up on the slate.
I don't want to quote the ownership too much because this stuff's going to change with the possibly Ant getting ruled out, with the Orlando stuff changing things around. But we had Wemby at 27% on DK for what it's worth. Edgecombe gets the biggest boost with PG-13 and Embiid off the court. I think it's a 3.5% boost in usage. Maxey gets a 3% boost, and we're going to get a bunch of minutes out of Maxey. We're projecting 38 and a pile of shots, certainly in the pool for tournaments for me. Grimes is just, it's a salary play, right? He's going to play 30 minutes, and he's just 4-3. His role was getting diminished, but now it's getting elevated because players are out. Namely, Oubre is the big one. Embiid, of course, is the big one too. But both Oubre and Embiid being out elevates Grimes. I'm really, really excited to see. The most important thing on the slate, I guess you're talking about Wemby. Who are you most likely to pair him with as far as center? Because you're talking about Wagner, whichever one starts amongst Wagner and Gabataze. And then there's Reese, who was absolutely dreadful last game. He's still 3K. He still probably plays a pile of minutes, barring the fact he gets fouled out. But otherwise, there's 9 guys, and he mops, he closes. They want to lose. He's a perfect player to lose with. Who's like your next favorite center?
If Wagner starts, it's Wagner. But if he doesn't, then it's probably Reese, man. I want to keep it under 3,500. I want my next after, if I plug in Wemby first, I want my next guy to be very cheap, under 3,500, and both those guys fit that bill.
I would just say if Goga starts, like that is just full throttle, 100%
Goga. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that to me feels
okay. If they throw us a monkey wrench and somebody else started besides those 2 guys,
who would it be? Isaac?
You never know. He's got seniority there, man.
The other part of it is you don't really need to be tall against Washington because they're only tall.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Somebody's going to get lost in the shuffle. One of these good centers, cheap centers.
We might have some Banchero at the 5, because again, there's
where he belongs. That's where he belongs.
You think so? You think he's a 5?
I think that's what's best for their team. If I was a coach, which I'm not, I think it'd keep him in a little bit closer to the basket, get him away from some of those mid-range turnarounds, and I think that'd be good for their team. But who knows?
Let's talk about the Grizz, the T-Wolves. Also 8:00. Potential flipping of the slate if we happen to lose Ant Edwards, and it's a really late Q drop. What was the actual body part they gave him? I got to refresh.
Injury maintenance. That's all I see.
Yeah, I mean that's it should say Memphis Grizzlies. That's what it's saying. It's not injury maintenance.
Well,
it's Memphis Grizzlies.
Then why wouldn't you say injury maintenance like 3 hours ago? Like if you knew you were playing Memphis, you knew you were playing Memphis for quite a while now.
I know. They gave him a foot.
For example, Denny Advia is already questionable for tomorrow night with injury management. So they're giving you a good heads up, giving you a 24-hour heads up. These guys.
Well, he's been injured, like legitimately injured.
These guys are giving us a 1-hour heads up.
So Minnesota, again, 13, 14-point favorite, depending on, and we'll see about Ant. Big downgrade, questionable. Everybody else is healthy. And as far as Memphis, Aldima's questionable. KCP is out. Coward's questionable. Edie's probably done for the year. He hasn't seen the court in a long time. Taj Gibson's out for conditioning. I didn't see that until now.
Taj is still in the league.
Did you not see this? Memphis just signed to a 2-year deal. They signed him to a 2-year. What? 40-year-old Taj Gibson got a 2-year deal from the Grizzlies.
Who's the coach?
He's going to be a big part of this team going forward.
maybe they're going to make a coaching change in the offseason and bring in Tibbs.
Let Taj coach.
Well, bring in Tibbs. Maybe they knew Tibbs. Maybe they know Tibbs is coming in. They want to have his boy there, ready for him.
Is he doing TV anywhere, Tibbs? I don't think he is. Right? He's just taking a year off.
I haven't seen.
Is he anywhere?
I haven't heard from Tibbs.
I don't think so. Yeah, Ty Jerome also questionable. John Morant is out, but this is tricky. We may lose Ant, and usage is going to be jumping up elsewhere. A guy like Randall would jump up. I imagine DeSumo would benefit. We don't have an if-then setup for this. Of course, we would be on it projection-wise if this news happens to break. But curious your thoughts. How are you handling this game right now? Because you might leave the light on for some player. Well, you don't necessarily have to because you can pick a lot of players from OKC, Philly. I like these games at 8 o'clock. They kind of like any tiebreaker I'm pushing later, except, I like Orlando. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Interesting. I want to start off, Dean, by saying I believe David Driscoll in chat is calling you a loser. Oh, and I think Steve, I don't have, I'm trying to do the show, so I can't mess with it, but he needs the ban. Give him the ban hammer. Get him out of here. Don't call Dean no loser.
That's fine. That's fine.
Come on.
No, hold on. Just to be clear, he's not saying loser. He says losers.
I wanted to make sure that he wasn't talking about the team, so I gave him a chance to clarify, but we'll see.
Good. He might just be talking. I don't know his history. So I don't know if he's that guy. He just yes, it's the team, or yes, it's losers. Dean, or what?
No, it's losers. He says right foot losers, not loser. Me and you're going down with the ship, Chop. You're also a loser.
No, I'm not. I'm going. It's on you, man. Okay, Memphis. Don't like Memphis. There's nobody on Memphis is even projected for over 29.5 points or whatever. That's just not a team I want to partake in at this moment. There's nobody cheap. Everybody is priced adequately, beyond adequately. There's nobody under 3K that's of relevance, under 4K that's of relevance for the team. I'm a hard pass on Memphis. Too many good spots out there tonight with cheaper players already. Anthony Edwards was a guy I did think could come out here and if he got hot from the 3-point range, could be a good, but certainly can't touch that now. Don't want to build thinking Anthony Edwards is going to be in the lineup. I'm okay with all the other high profile players we got. I'm okay just scratching Anthony Edwards out of my pool and not worrying about it. And if he plays the late game, fine. I faded him and hope my Wembanyama or Banchero or Cade Cunningham or whatever outperform him anyway, because he's in the same range of prices, whatever. And I'll have some spots for, Randall just in case, or Naz Reid or Jaden McDaniels. I think any of those guys. Dante DiVincenzo would be really nice if Edwards sat. DiVincenzo could be a decent player even if Anthony Edwards played. So, yeah, I'm okay with the Memphis fade, the Anthony Edwards fade, and then, if some players fall into your lineup for Minnesota, good. They're probably still going to they could probably still achieve their goals even if Edwards played, and if they're gone, you hit a jackpot.
Yeah, and again, I think you're going to have some spots to play with, assuming you backload in some ways with players on the Thunder, players on the Sixers. Curious to see. I'm with you though. If Ant plays, which I don't think he will at this point, just to guess, I would have to guess no, because just how late that tag came. But if he does, I'm happy just forgetting that game doesn't exist and chopping the slate down to 6 games, right? Or maybe even 5, depending on. Chop, we need a plums play. Who are you feeling in the plums before we yield to crunch time?
We need it. We need it right now.
Yeah.
How much time we got?
Well, I mean, they're in the bullpen. They're warming up.
There's
not have one ready?
No, I got plenty of them ready. I just had to pull up my full player pool as because I'm going game by game with you, so I'm got everything deleted except for that one game we're going over, and I got to pull it back up. Yeah, so there was a lot to choose from today. There's a lot of mid-range guys that I really like. And that's kind of where I like to stick. I don't like to give a too high-owned guy or too high-salaried of a guy or anything. I like to stick in the mid-range. But I'm going Tyler Hero. I think it's a massive Tyler Hero game. I've been really impressed by the improvements in his game. I think it's a good matchup. They're still trying to win, Dean. That's the main thing this time of year. You got a team still trying to get into that play-in. So I know you hate it, but it's good for fantasy. There's some consistency there. So I'm going Tyler Hero. I just need him to get hot from the three-point range. And if he can do that, I know he's going to score on the inside. I know he's going to grab some assists and rebounds. And so speaking, I was going to say steals, blocks. Man, did you see Reed Shepherd last night? The fast hands.
Is that what it was?
I was like 6 and 2 or something like
whatever. 8 in total. Yeah,
he's got the fast. He's always had those fast hands on defense. He's not a good defender. You can blow right past him in the wrong matchup, but he got active hands, man. He's going to be a good fantasy player if they let him keep starting for the rest of the year.
80-year-old Pat Riley. He wants to pad his record or whatever. He doesn't care about tomorrow. He only cares about today. He doesn't care about the future for the Heat. So yeah, you got to get every win possible because you got to participate in what's become the Miami Heat Invitational, the playing game. Them, Chicago, and Atlanta. Like that's what it is. Book it every single year, which is the absolute worst place to be. And yeah, Miami loves Heat culture. Got to win every game.
Don't worry, Dean. You'll have Giannis in the offseason.
Woo! I hope you're right. I hope you're right. We'll see. All right, let's do it. Let's seamlessly transition. Crunch time. They're here right now. Two people that are definitely not losers. We got Will Priester. We got TastefulTides. Tim Buell. Will, how are things?
Good, man.
What's up, losers?
No, Tim.
Oh,
just
Tim.
one. He meant it towards
this show by myself.
He meant.
He clearly said losers. Job. He might have
meant producer Steve.
It said losers.
He might have meant Dean and Steve though.
I don't know.
At least two of us.
Or he might have meant the team. He might have meant the Timberwolves. I don't know. We don't want to ban him.
They're not losers.
We need to hear his. We need to hear his side of the story.
We need to hear from the judge, jury, and executioner, our good friend, good producer Steve. Did we actually give him to Italy, or was that just a stain and he's still hanging around the streets? Because I haven't seen anything from old Dave in about 5 to 10 minutes.
I didn't give him the Italy, but I was gonna. He didn't reply.
All right.
That's fine.
Cool. All right. So Dave's still hanging on.
We still need the guy to get a microphone and get on here and tell us how he got today's answer out of the first clue that didn't even make any sense.
It made a lot of sense, but it doesn't. It's not something your brain typically would go. But yeah, Fleet Tuesday was Pete Alonso, Kiss, Bird, Relocate, Orange. Derby was the fifth clue. We were scrolling that. Of course, Pete Alonso, the polar bear, famous for winning the Homer Derby. I think a couple times. One of those times when he won it, I want to say he made more money winning the Homer Derby. He did play in baseball the entire season because he was on a rookie contract. But yeah, shout out to Pete Alonso, the polar bear this year in Baltimore. Sorry about that, producer Steve. Steve, by the way, was giving you the business there, Chop, in our private chat. You didn't have Steve had your back, and you just threw him right under Jerome Bettis.
No, why would I? What? That's crazy.
Also, the winner, J3, said he wants to donate it for an extra wheel spin tomorrow.
Woo, J3, good guy.
He's not taking his win today.
That's Dean's burner. Is J3. So
well, now it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes.
He's got burners. I got burners.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, this David guy was onto something.
Choppy, anything else before we step aside and get out of here? I'm looking forward to seeing the Magic starting lineup. I don't know if I want to see Goga because then everybody's going to play Goga, but I'm excited about playing Goga. But if he's starting, like he's going to be 100%, right? So, yeah, we'll see. That's probably coming in about 10 minutes or so. Chop, you got anything else?
Nah, we're out of here.
That was Chop. I was Dean. Do hit that like button. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Do not go anywhere. You got 39 minutes of crunch time. It's Will Priester. It's Tim Buell. Will, take it away.
All right, everybody. It's crunch time, and it will be a crunch time this evening. A whole lot of news has been popping up left and right. Tim, I'm just going to hop right in this thing. In terms of news that's important to you, obviously, we've already got plenty that has come down the pipe. We know a lot of big time guys are missing. Like obviously we know SGA isn't going to play. We know some big guys aren't going to play. It feels like Anthony Edwards seems to be the news that in terms of big names that everybody's kind of waiting on, in a general sense, let's start with Ant and then we'll hop into like position stuff. I heard Chop say something like as we were approaching the show. I tended to agree with Chop on this. I don't necessarily need Anthony Edwards to win a tournament tonight. Need is a strong word, but I'm saying he's expensive enough to where I could just get rid of him. There's plenty of other guys I can play on a fairly nice slate. I think that's the approach I'm going to take, so I don't even have to worry about it. I know that might leave some of these other guys available, like obviously Julius Randle will get a bump. Guys like Naz Reid or Gobert or Ayo, or does Bones Highland get 25 minutes now? I know it will impact some cheaper pieces, but just in a bubble for Anthony Edwards himself, I'm just going to take the Ant fade and live with it. What are your thoughts on Ant, and then we'll kind of get into the rest of the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I did not have Anthony Edwards really in anything in turn. So if he plays, that really isn't going to change a whole lot. But I would say that I am going to be planning on him not playing. He got a midday, late day downgrade to questionable for injury maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that that's the team kind of saying that he's going to be sitting tonight. I talked to a couple of guys in our projections team as well. They kind of agree with that sentiment that I'm leaning. So I'm leaning pretty heavily that he's going to be out. I think that is going to kind of send some other plays. I think we should be backloading our teams a little bit with anticipation of that news. It's going to be probably guys, the obvious guys like Julius Randle. I think that we can also get to some more Rudy Gobert now. Naz Reid, I think, has got to be somebody that we have to consider as well. Jaden McDaniels, all these guys we can be swapping on to. But this is still, I would assume it's still going to be around a 14, 15-point spread. It's not like these are going to be absolute smash plays, but I think they're going to be pretty strong. This is going to lead into the other piece of news that I want to talk about really quick, is that who's going to be starting at center for the Magic. And because that's one of the first games of the entire night. That's a 7:00 Eastern game. That game is super important because some of these other 7:00 games I don't think are fantastic. But this Orlando Washington game is super important on both sides of the ball, especially now that we've got Wendell Carter news that he's out. We have Mo Wagner starting. I've seen a couple other places have Goga starting. It's kind of we don't really know yet. The question about Mo Wagner is that how much is he going to get pushed? He's not playing a ton of minutes. So I think it's super important. If he's not starting, I think you've got to fire up Goga. But if Mo Wagner starts, I mean, maybe he'll get 20 minutes tonight. And if he does, he's an absolute smash. But so I think that's normally I'm not going to be too worried about who's starting versus who isn't. But I think this is a very important piece of news that, we're going to get in the next few minutes here. But I think that does matter quite a bit here.
Yeah, and I think you brought up something really important, Tim, as we hop into it a little bit more. Sometimes, guys, I know everybody wants the plays. I'm here to tell you, sometimes the plays aren't as important as the strategy. You need the plays, right? You need some guys. But I think Tim brought up an important point, and I don't want to gloss over this, Tim. And something you said at the beginning, we probably need to backload our lineups tonight, right? Meaning outside of these 7:30 games, 8:00 might need to be your sweet spot for some of these games. I know it's only 3 games, but I'm saying that to say, you brought up a good point in terms of the 7:00 games, maybe not as interesting, especially for some of the value, not as interesting at some of these games. And so if we get the Ant news, how much does that impact, a Gobert or Randall? Those are guys that we should be considering. Obviously, we're already going to talk about Maxey because of the Embiid situation. Obviously, Wemby is starting to get cranked up. So there's a lot of options behind that 7:00 game. Obviously, we've got the OKC Thunder value as well, Tim. So I'm saying that to say that's something you brought up. And outside of just talking about the plays, I think the strategy of that is really good for today's slate. And I almost knocked my phone holder on the floor. I caught it off my desk. So I just wanted to mention that, everybody. We will get to the plays, which is right now. But don't ever forsake or overlook when guys like Tim are talking about strategy. Sometimes that goes overlooked when we're in crunch time trying to speed it up. All right, Tim, I'm headed right to point guard. I'm talking about DraftKings first. I promise we'll make this quick, everybody. Tim, give me a little bit of cash and then a couple tournament sprinkles. Who do you like most? And then we'll kick it down the road from there.
Yeah, so one guy that we can definitely start off with tonight, whether it be cash games or tournaments, is Tyrese Maxey. Absolutely, definitely, absolute core play tonight. I see Noto has him cored in lineup HQ. He's 10-1. We've got no Embiid tonight. Philadelphia is relatively shorthanded. Pretty good matchup. So I think he's definitely somebody that we can start off with in any format. He's likely going to be in my primary single entry team as well. So somebody that I like quite a bit. And, not that we're going to be swapping off of him, but he is, he is an 8:00 game. So again, it's again trying to build out later. So he kind of checks all the boxes. The pivot off of Maxey would be Cade Cunningham. Cleveland is still, they're average defensively, but they're not some kind of elite defensive team that they have been in years past. So Cade is kind of like your large field pivot off of Maxey, but in a vacuum, Maxey is the far superior play. But if you want to take some shots on Cade tonight, I really don't mind it. He's 11K. I think he's a completely reasonable large field GPP play. A couple of less expensive point guards. LaMelo Ball, I think, is somewhat interesting at 8,500. I see that Neil Orfield has him tagged in lineup HQ. He's projected around 10% ownership. I think he's somewhat viable. But the guy that I really like is Tyler Hero at 7,300. He would be the guy. Well, we'll talk about FanDuel later, but he's a really good play on FanDuel. But even on DK at 7,300 is, I think, very, very strong. It's a really good matchup. He should be playing minutes in the low 30s. I think he is priced really nice here, and I think he's a really, really good GPP play. Probably on DK, not quite solid enough for cash games, but he's pretty darn close. So I think if you landed on him, and he's shooting guard eligible, so he does fill 2 spots, which I think is pretty nice, especially on this slate. And then some cheapies. We got Jared McCain at 3,800, Jaden Hardy at 4,200, Sharif Cooper at 4K. We're going to be talking a lot about the Wizards on this slate, and I think he is certainly viable in GBPs. He's maybe not my favorite play, but I think he can make the cut. Same thing with Bob Carrington at 5,300. He's another kind of mid-range play. And then Javon Carter. A lot of this Orlando stuff is going to be pretty popular. I don't think Javon Carter is going to be played much at all. And I think he is, if this game maybe gets a little bit out of hand, he gets a little hot early in his first run, he could easily pay off that $3,800 price tag. And he is also shooting guard eligible. So again, he's got some of that roster flexibility that we really like. But if you're looking for somebody safer, that's cheap, it's probably Jared McCain or Quentin Grimes. I've been playing Grimes a lot, and it has not been good. But he should be playing a lot of minutes. He should be doing well. But man, I have clicked him a lot lately, and he's been bad. He has not quite got there for me, but it's he should play minutes.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were going to bring him up. Obviously, he's someone that it's kind of of course, you don't play him, and you don't play him today, Tim. And look out, it's a 40 ball. I felt that way about Andre Drummond one day, and I was like, yeah, I think Andre Drummond looks neat today, and he played against Boston. And I did play Andre Drummond. I finally got him right. I will not play him today for what it's worth. I
kind of brought him up. Oh, it's Bo. Goga Batadze is starting over Mo. So I think I would imagine. I'm not sure. We'll see what the projection team does. I would imagine that Mo.
I assume they give him at least 25 minutes minimum. What did you say, Tim?
I don't think that high necessarily. I don't know. But Mo will come down, I think, to below 20. I have to I'll just pull up what they had before. Yeah, so I would say Mo goes under 20 now, and a couple more minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes goes up to Goga.
I mean, Goga was at 18 before.
Right, so maybe Goga goes up to like 22, 23. Maybe 25, I don't know. But either way, I think you've got to be playing Goga in cash games now over Mo Wagner. I would still say that you could probably still play Mo Wagner in GPPs as like a kind of a lower owned. Yep.
I went back to the beginning of the season because I knew at one point he kind of got a pretty nice. I thought he had a fairly nice run, kind of at the. Let's see, hold on. I'm trying to get there. Bear with me. Well, yeah, no, he was still around 20 minutes. So, yeah. Well, maybe not. So, yeah, so you're probably right, Tim. I guess 22 minutes, but that's still enough at 3K, though, right? Like, we're not.
Yeah.
At 3K, that's more than enough for him to do some damage. So,
yeah, I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't.
Be like
I mean,
20.
No reason
22,
to not play Goga, especially in cash.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be your cash game center now. It just flip flops between those two. Like before we had it, I think that Mo Wagner would probably be your cash game center, but now it's going to be Goga.
Yeah, I get it. We'll put a button in center because I know we'll get there and kind of cement that. Let's talk about shooting guard. Obviously, we've got some options here. Some of our options will import from point guard, something we can still play, like a Tyler Hero, but I feel like Casey Wallace is going to really hit the conversation at this particular position, Tim, because of the matchup and the vacancy of
SGA.
Oh
yeah,
no SGA tonight.
Oklahoma. So. Yeah, Oklahoma's super shorthanded. We obviously are losing SGA. That's going to be pretty big for Kason Wallace. He's 5,600. He is shooting guard, small forward, so he gives us that roster flexibility. We have him projected for over 30 minutes. He's a really solid play. Before we kind of got this potential Ant news, I was considering him a core play. I think Noto still has him as core play. Like he's a very, very good play. Maybe not as good as he was earlier, but I think he's fantastic. He is currently, he is in our first optimal. So he's definitely hitting cash game lineups right now. I think he's fantastic. I think he's probably better served at shooting guard tonight, but again, you can play him at small forward. A couple other guys, Desmond Bane. We really like the Magic tonight. It's obviously a fantastic matchup. 7,600. He's got small forward eligibility as well, so he's a really great play. VJ Edgecombe, 6,600. I think he's an interesting pivot off of guys like Bane, off of guys like Wallace. I think he's going to get squeezed a little bit in terms of ownership. So I think he's a really, really strong play. Conkanipple, I think, is okay for GPPs. Again, somebody that I don't think is going to get played that heavily. I talked about Tyler Hero. He's obviously fantastic. Again, Isaiah Joe, somebody else that's, obviously going to benefit from the shorthanded Thunder, 4,600. And then Jaden Hardy, again, shorthanded Wizards team. I think he's a solid value as well. And then we talked about at the top of the show, Will, I don't think you really even need to deal with Anthony Edwards. Like, he's 9,500. if he plays, I don't think he's going to. But if he does, I don't think that we need him tonight. So I'm not even gonna like have him in my pool.
Yeah. I don't plan to play Ant at all today. So I agree with you. 100%. In terms of anyone that I would add in, it's basically just matchups for me, man. Like you talked about, Khan. As crazy as this sounds, like I don't hate anybody in that game, him or Brandon Miller. Like this should be a fairly soft matchup. Anybody in a soft matchup, I don't mind. Obviously the Baines, all of those things. So totally agree with you there. I'm trying to check and make sure we don't have any random cheapies that may pop. At any rate, if we do, I'll come back to it. Let's go to small forward, Tim. We'll have a few of the same guys as well. What are you doing here? Because I feel like the main guy at small forward tonight is probably Bain, Miller, those types of plays. And they're not really getting crazy ownership, right? They're not getting crazy ownership. So what are you doing there? And then, how much does a guy like Jalen Tyson, hop into small forward for you, even though with Donovan Mitchell out, much tougher matchup, but the minutes should be there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's significant blowout concern with Brandon Miller and Desmond Bain. I'm not saying that they're bad plays, but I think that's what's kind of keeping their ownership in check. I think Brandon Miller is a fantastic play. I think he's got a really good floor here. We have him projected for 40 points at 7,500. That's very solid. So it's more. I'm more concerned is can Dallas keep this game close enough to whereas Brandon Miller can really hit a ceiling. So that's kind of my concern here. But I think he's a fantastic floor play. And then obviously it's very similar with Desmond Bain, almost like the exact same analysis. Like can the Wizards keep this game close enough? Can Bain really hit a ceiling? But again, really great floor. We already talked about Kason Wallace. He's a really solid play. I do want to bring up Jaden McDaniels really quick, especially if Ant were to miss. But I mean, Jaden McDaniels, he's already projected for 30 points. Like, I think that he has got a little bit room to go up here if Ant were to miss. So I think he's super interesting. Somebody that, he's a good play, even if Ant plays. But if he were to miss, I think he's somebody that's super interesting for GPPs and something you might want to consider for like late swap stuff. And then some of the value pieces at small forward. I know that Chop called him a corner stander, and he is. I mean, Chop's not wrong, but I do think that you can definitely play Tristan da Silva here, like $4,400.
Too many minutes. Too many minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot of minutes. It's a good matchup. Like even if he does just stand in the corner, like he could still get there. So he's definitely a value piece that I think you can be putting into your lineups. Aaron Wiggins, similar 4,500. But again, we've talked about how Oklahoma City is a little bit shorthanded, and he's also got power forward eligibility. Same thing with Da Silva. So both of those guys give you some roster flexibility. And then I think Alex Caruso, he's 3,900. I think he's a decent value as well. So if you don't want to pay up at small forward, which I completely understand, I think guys like Da Silva, Wiggins, Wallace, Caruso can all be put in your lineups. And then I think we got to talk about Will Riley really quick. He's getting priced up. He hasn't really shown it. He busted yesterday. I don't think many people are going to go back to him, but the Washington's only got 9 guys, so he's going to play. I think that I would, maybe if I was building out 10 teams, I might put him in one. I'm not saying go crazy with him, but I think he could definitely make the pool.
Okay. And the projection on him is still good despite, the ownership percentage. And so part of that, Tim, as we know, is owner sentiment and how we feel about a player. And after a couple bad performances being priced up, people kind of hop off. But the projections still suggest that he should play okay. I don't mind it at 5,600 if I'm multi-entering. I'm not saying we're playing him in cash, right? But
right,
in a mass multi-entry situation, with the ownership projection of him being very low, you could get to 5-10%, and if he does really well, and the rest of your lineup is doing what they're supposed to do, Tim, you got a really good lineup on your hands. So we're almost done with positions. I'm going to go ahead and get this question out of the way because I think we're going to get it, Tim, and I think it's important because we've already talked about a lot of value pieces. How many pieces from Orlando is too many? How many pieces from OKC is too many? We're going to get that question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it now, and then we can finish up positions because I do think that's a great strategy question for this slate.
Yeah, I'm glad that you took that question right now. I think that's really smart of you to do that. So because of this, I was going to build really heavily, much more heavily with this Orlando news, but with this Anthony Edwards news kind of like lingering, and there's some really nice games at 8:00. I'm kind of starting to just kind of limit a little bit this Orlando. I wouldn't go. I think I'm going to go to Orlando.
Okay.
I'm sure that some optimals are probably spitting out 3. And that's kind of the debate that I'm having in my mind right now that I'm currently working with it in my single entry team is like, do I want to go 2 or 3? I'm leaning 2. I definitely would not go more than 3 though. I mean, if you want to play 3, that's fine. But I think I'm going to go 2.
Okay. All right. And OKC, same thing.
Yeah. I'm currently only getting to Kason Wallace.
Okay.
I would not go more than 2.
Okay. So you heard it here from Tim. His max is 2 OKC, 2 Magic. I think my max would be 3 Magic, depending on if you're going to play Paolo, De Silva, and one of the centers together. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't hate 3. I think my max is 3, but 2 is probably the right call to give yourself the room. OKC.
I mean, I would definitely
I agree with 2 as well.
Yeah, I would definitely make a rule. If you're building a lineup HQ, both of those teams are min 1, definitely. And then max 2 OKC, max 3 Orlando.
Yep.
But I wouldn't hate it if you wanted to I wouldn't hate it if you wanted to max 2 both of them.
Yep, for sure. All right, Tim, we're going to power forward. Obviously another position where we do have some options tonight. And Paolo is there, and he's power forward only on DraftKings. So who are your favorites at power forward? And then we'll move on to center.
Yeah, Paolo is currently the guy that is getting shown quite a bit in optimals right now, 9,400. I mean, we talked about that matchup. It's obviously fantastic. Great raw point play. Again, can Washington hang in this game long enough for Paolo to hit his ceiling? I'm not so sure, but I mean, in cash games, I would definitely be playing him just because I think that floor is fantastic. I don't think he is like somebody that I would be trying to get super like drastically overweight though in GPPs. Like maybe we could just kind of ride the fence with him and be neutral in terms of, just matching ownership. Because I don't have a whole lot of like strong conviction that he's going to absolutely crush here and win you a tournament. But I do think that he's a relatively safe play. I think Chet Holmgren is a pretty good pivot here at 8,500. But again, kind of a similar situation. But I think Chet is a really good GPP play. Julius Randle, Evan Mobley, even. Like, I know that this is not a good spot necessarily, but nobody's going to be playing Evan Mobley tonight. And I think that he can definitely kind of hang here with some of these upper tier power forwards at next to no ownership. So I think that he's at least viable as like a really, really low owned power forward play. And then some of the value pieces we've already talked about. Tristan Da Silva, I think, is completely fine. Aaron Wiggins, we already talked about, but we got to talk about Jalen Williams, 5,100. He's a really good value tonight. He should see minutes in the upper 20s. Kenrick Williams again. He's not going to play as many minutes, but he's only 3,700. So I think that he's an okay kind of dart throw, GPP play.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Jalen Williams pop too, by the way, like for some big performances. So this could very well be another one of those nights, Tim, especially with the matchup against the Bulls. So, all right, moving along to center, and then we'll go through FanDuel, and then we'll start taking questions. FanDuel is going to be similar tonight, so I'm not really worried about it too much. So for everybody that's concerned about FanDuel, we'll talk about some differences, and then we'll get to your questions. Any major things you want to do up top at center tonight? Being that a lot of it is value at the bottom with Orlando. What are your thoughts at center?
Yeah, a lot of value at center. I think we do have to briefly touch on Wembanyama. Wemby's 10-7.
Yeah.
He's definitely your spend up guy. Really good matchup against Drummond tonight. So he's definitely somebody that we can consider here. I think a lot of builds are going to give you double punt centers because there's like 3 guys that you can play at 3,500 and under. But Wemby is certainly somebody that we should not be ignoring tonight, just because he's got an amazing floor here, and he should be able to dominate. And he's a good run back with Maxey, who is in a fantastic spot. So a natural little game stack there. So yeah, I mean, Wemby's your spend up guy. I'm not personally gonna be goofing around with any of the higher end options. Diabate is like an interesting mid range play. I guess Andre Drummond is okay as well, but if I'm not going to be playing Wemby tonight, I'm going to be going with Julian Reese or Goga Batadze. And then I think you can still play Mo Wagner in larger field stuff, but I think Goga is like the safer play of the two Magic cheapies. And then I did want to touch on a question in YouTube really quick. Thoughts on Mo Wagner and Batadze in center and util for DK single entry? Don't really love it. Like, I get that you're going to be getting like pretty much all the center minutes, but with Julian Reese right there, I would rather, if you're going to go double cheap, I'd rather go one of the Magic with Reese. But I get what you're trying to do there. I don't think it's horrible, but I'm not personally going to do that.
Okay. Tim, I'm going to go ahead over to FanDuel, and we're going to do something a little different. Reverse. We're going to start at center on FanDuel, okay? So we're already there. We're already talking about it. It's going to be pretty similar for me on FanDuel, especially since you're only getting one. And a lot of these guys are center only. The difference is you can get Wembanyama at power forward on FanDuel, which opens it up a little bit for you to be able to still be pretty creative. What are your thoughts at center on FanDuel?
Did you say that we can't get Wemby at power forward on FanDuel?
No. I said we can get Wemby. We're able to get Wemby at power forward on FanDuel, so we don't have to play him at center.
Correct. Yep. And so it's a little bit different, but not a ton. Like, I still think that we're going to be going with Goga at 3,600 in cash games. Like, I don't think it's that much different. Rudy Gobert at 6,500 on FanDuel is the other guy that I would consider quite a bit, and that's it doesn't matter if Ant plays or not. Like, Rudy Gobert, I think is a really great play. I personally am likely just going to be playing Goga. The other thing that's a little bit different on FanDuel is that Julian Reese is power forward, so you don't have that other second option for a cheapie. You just have Goga. So it's a little bit different, but it's like the names are still the same. Like, you're probably just going to be going with Goga, Rudy Gobert, Diabate 6,200. I think he's completely fine as well in that mid range.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. One of the things I will say on FanDuel in terms of center, as we hasten a little bit, Tim, is you can get Jalen at power forward too, which is like a big deal, right? So that's one of the biggest things I think on FanDuel for me. Moving to power forward, Tim, like I said, we're just kind of going in reverse. Obviously, we love Wemby. I love Paolo, but I can also get Paolo at small forward on FanDuel, Tim. So FanDuel's got a little different build tonight. I'm assuming Wemby's your favorite. He's definitely one of my favorites. And then I love the fact that I can get Jalen Williams at 4,400 on the bottom. What are your thoughts at power forward on FanDuel?
Yeah, you're still probably going to be playing Paolo in cash games, but he's kind of a similar play for me in GPPs. He might be somebody that I would just kind of like match the field in terms of ownership. Maybe I would only do like one in a 3 max setting. But yeah, in cash, you're going to be playing Paolo. You kind of have a decision to make between Jalen Williams and Julian Reese. There's also Tristan da Silva there at 4,500. And then Chet Holmgren at 8,300. He's a better price on FanDuel than he is on DK. So I think Chet Holmgren is somebody that you can definitely consider here in any format. It doesn't matter what you're playing tonight. I think he's viable. Mo Wagner is center power forward on FanDuel. He's 3,800. He might not quite get the minutes that we were hoping. I think we're down to like 17 or 18 right now, but I think he's still worth a shot. He's going to be
a tournament flyer.
Yeah, definitely a tournament flyer. A pivot off of Julian Reese. Like Reese should probably beat him, but I think he's worth a shot as like a pivot for sure.
Yeah. And Reese at 3,800 obviously is a guy that we can consider. Moving to small forward, Tim, where we're kind of we can still double up on Paolo. We're now starting to get to Brandon Miller, Bane. You can get Khan there. A whole host of guys at this particular position. Will Riley, if you still believe in him, Tim. So what are we doing at this particular position on FanDuel?
Yeah, so similar as DK, Brandon Miller, Desmond Bane, they're right in that mid-range, 77 and 7,600. They're really, really, really solid plays. You can play Paolo at small forward he's a really strong cash game play. And then some other guys we haven't mentioned on FanDuel anyway: Isaiah Joe, Quentin Grimes, Alex Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Champagnie. It's definitely guys here in the cheap end that we can play. I know it's kind of gross, but I think Max Christie is okay at 5,100. Just because we know he's going to be playing the minutes. It's not amazing, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tim, shooting guard. What are we doing?
Yeah, so
which I know the obvious play is Tyler Hero, right? Like
I was gonna say,
Tyler Hero's obvious.
I was gonna say Tyler Hero for me on FanDuel is like an absolute core play. Like you need to be playing him in one of your point guard or shooting guard spots. I think that's pretty easy. I would not be goofing around there. He's way too cheap. And Case on Walls, kind of the same thing, 5,800. Those two guys are like core plays for me, especially on FanDuel. Brandon Miller, we already talked about. Desmond Bane, we've talked about. Jaden Hardy, I think, is okay for GPPs. So and then Quentin Grimes, I keep forgetting about him because I just don't want to play him tonight, but he does project really well. Cheap. So I certainly am not going to fault anybody. Like I've gotten him wrong, I think, every single slate all season. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm just being biased, but he does project really, really strong.
Okay, and I'm moving to point guard, Tim. I'm going to throw LaMelo Ball as a hometown favorite at 8,300. Minutes aren't quite there in the 30s consistently, but this is a spot he can smash. Who are your favorites at point guard? And then we'll go lightning round on these questions.
Yeah, so Tyrese Maxey, LaMelo Ball, Cade is your pivot, but I would definitely be playing Maxey in cash. I'm trying to see. I guess Harden's a little bit better of a play on FanDuel, but I don't love it. Jared McCain is like a super cheapie. Sharif Cooper, another cheapie. Bub Carrington, Javon Carter. Those are your cheapies. VJ Edgecombe, he's point guard, shooting guard. I do love him for GPPs.
Okay, sounds good. Tim, we are starting to hit questions. I'm going in the live stream chat first. Then I will head to YouTube, and we'll get these folks out of here. This was Aaron Wiggins or Da Silva, DKGPP. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to go Da Silva. I think I like the minutes more, even though Aaron Wiggins is playing the Chicago Bulls. This is also GPP. Tim, this is coming from D-Rock 1838. This is a 2v2. Richards, De Silva, or Goga, Riley?
I would go the Goga one.
Okay. This is coming from Carolina Guy 828. This is FanDuel GPP favorite contrarian spend up. I am going with Cade, also favorite value. Probably going to go with Goga. Second behind that for me was going to be Jalen Williams. Really like him quite a bit. This is from New Generation 82 QQ DK GPP. This is with Cade in my lineup, Tim. Maxey, Champagny, McDaniels, or Banchero, Grimes, Giddey.
The first one.
Okay. This is from Jim Paris. Thoughts on Leonard, Miller, and Gobert. I have Hardy for DraftKings GPP. Thanks.
Say that again, Will. Sorry.
Yep. Thoughts on Leonard, Miller, and Gobert, and Jay Hardy for DraftKings GPPs. Thanks.
I think it's okay. I don't mind it.
Okay. All right. DK GPP. Any 3K punts viable at forward for DK GPP? Maybe in the 3K range. I don't think it's anybody like 3K flat. That's maybe Kenrich Williams if you decide to go that route. But not too many. I don't think there are too many. Okay, here we go, Tim. I'm hopping into YouTube now. I think I finished all the ones in the live stream. Assuming Ant sits DiVincenzo McDaniels or Randall Bones Highland.
Ooh, I'd probably try to get to Randall.
Okay. This is best 3 cheap plays for FanDuel GPPs. Goga, Jalen Williams, and probably Reese. I'm going to go there. Let's see. Thoughts on Alex Caruso revenge game? Don't mind that. This is coming from Mark Grabowski. I'm stuck between Chet and Randall or Wemby and Jalen Williams on FanDuel. Thoughts, Tim?
I'd go the second one.
Okay, thoughts on Gobert? Like Gobert, we're going ultra lightning round. This is coming from Lou. Wemby, J. Will Prosper, or Randall Banchero Richards?
Second one.
Okay, this is thoughts on Claxton and Gafford.
I wasn't getting to any Claxton. I would go Gafford.
Okay. Thoughts on Podol, 5,300 and back to normal minutes.
Back to who?
Jakob Podol, back to normal minutes.
I don't love it. Okay.
And we hit lock. We had one that was Bam or Randall, DK GPP. I was going to go Randall anyway. This was... I'll keep going with some questions, Tim, because some of these, if you backloaded your lineups, you should be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Edwards,
all right, cool.
Edwards is
so let's talk through that. I don't mind taking. Okay. So Bam or Randall, cool. FanDuel GPP Hero, Reese Miller, or Joe Chet Riley. You probably needed to go ahead and take Hero if you did that, because obviously Hero starting at 7:30. And then you've got Reese at 7. So hopefully we answered enough of the question. I know we didn't get to all of them, right? But my thing is, on a night like tonight, I think strategy is more important than the plays. And I do really mean that. So I appreciate you, Tim. Everybody's rolling. We thank you guys for joining us. I'm Chief. That's Tim. Producer Steve keeps doing a fantastic job. I'll see you back here later this week. This has been Crunch Time. You stay classy, San Diego.